guys, welcome to another session for the riders. It's free, it's about safety, and safety is very, very important. This is Abhishek, the founder of Roaring Cycles and Let's Ride. And we have with us Dhiren Talpade, who's the director, founder of Jumpstart Outdoors. He is also a certified safety consultant. And I would let Dhiren to take over the session. This is one of the 5 sessions that we are co-hosting together. And Dhiren, over to you. And let's make this very interesting and interactive. And let's hope people go back with a lot of knowledge about safety on roads and how to handle situations which should not happen, but let them be prepared. So this session is brought to you by Jumpstart Outdoors, Roaring Cycles, and Let's Ride riding partner. Dhiren, over to you, please.
So hi guys, my name is Dhiren. My name is Dhiren Tarpade. I'm from Jumpstart Outdoors, and I have been teaching wilderness first aid as well as. So I'll just get my. So I've been teaching wilderness first aid and rescue for the last 10, 12 years. And myself, I am a wilderness first responder. It's a 72-hour certification, and I have to recertify myself every 2 years. I also teach with Airy Backcountry Medicine and Hannafil Center. They are both. Hannafil Center is situated in Missouri, and Airy Backcountry Medicine is situated in Missoula, Montana, in the US. So with them, I train people on wilderness medicine courses. So wilderness first aid, that is what I teach them. So today's session, the first one that we are doing for riders especially, is more to do with how and what should we do in case we come across an accident on the highway. And I'm sure a lot of us have come across accidents on the highway, and it's not a pretty sight. In fact, it's sometimes we are all we're always thinking, should I stop? Should I get involved in it? We are always curious to know what's happening around. We try to ask questions, kya hua? Kisko kuch laga hai kya? And my experience has been that most of the people who stop and are trying to help over there are not helping, mainly because they don't know what to do. The best people come up with is isko pani pilao, isko pani pilao, isko pani pilao, and then give them a drink of water, give them some water to drink. And while I think it's a good gesture that people want to help out, if they just learn how to do it, okay, get all their facts straight, and they'll be empowered. We all should be empowered so that we can help each other. Okay, so just quickly to understand this, giving water is not a bad thing, but during the time of an accident, we want to make sure that the patient is not in any kind, as in there are no life threats on the patient. If the patient is alive by the time we take them to the hospital, that is when the doctors or the nurses can actually help the patient. If we do not take care of the patient's life, then even if we manage to get them to the hospital, the doctors or nurses will not be able to help them. So to begin with, so Abhishek and I, we discussed, we said, let's start with something very, very on the, something very, very basic. Okay, and the basics are scene size up. So we need to understand that when we are on an accident scene, what all things are over there, okay, and become aware of that situation. It's easier said than done, because you're on the highway most of the times when you see such accidents, road accidents, and there are other vehicles moving on the highway. Sometimes we just start crowding and the traffic slows down. But the basic idea is, if you're on the highway, then you are also not safe, right? You are now engrossed, you're trying to look and help somebody. And you need to understand that while you want to help somebody else, you have also now put yourself in hazard. Okay, so your life could be in jeopardy because there could be fast moving vehicles around. Okay, and you could also be hit by one of them, and you could be another patient. So what do we do when we are at an accident site? We need to understand that scene safety is very, very important. Okay, if we do not take care of ourselves first, then we are sooner or later bound to uh, accompany the patient as another patient. Okay, and I don't want to just use this as a uh, I don't want to scare you, but it is very important. A lot of times people come up and say, but what if the person who's hit is a very close friend? Okay, then I'm going to do everything in my power to help that person first. Okay, I will not look at myself. And people do that. Okay, they forget about themselves and they are full-fledgedly trying to help the other person. But there are things that go wrong there. I'm going to show you a quick video, okay, which we show our participants of our first aid and rescue class, okay. And this video is about a policeman in the US, in the state of Illinois. The camera on his car dashboard, in his police car dashboard, is what is recording the entire scene. And he was responding to an accident call. There was an accident between a tanker carrying some poisonous gas and or chemicals and a car. So there was an accident between this truck and a car, and the dispatch has mentions it that the ambulance and the fire brigade are on their way, and so is this policeman. So I'll just quickly show you this video and let's see what happens. Keep looking at the time. Okay, I'll tell you when to again divert your attention to the time, but let's see what happens.
Evidence 1222 information.
1222, go ahead.
Evidence 1222 checking location. This 1050 is at Hicks and Gray Road, is that correct?
1222 Effingham, 10-4, that is what the caller advised.
22 Temple. Evidence 1222.
1222, go ahead.
Evidence 1222, I'll be 1023, this 1050. It looks like we possibly have fire. I guess smoke. Here's we got one victim down the road, possibly one in the car. I'll be needing some assistance. What's the ETA on fire and ambulance?
1222 Effingham, 10-4, Chinmandi Alma Fire Department advised ETA 5 minutes, ambulance 5 to 7 minutes.
So the policeman says, I can see one person lying down on the road. There's one in the car. And he asked, how long will the ambulance and the fire brigade take to come there or reach there? And the dispatch unit, and the dispatcher on the radio, she's saying that the ambulance will take about 7 minutes and the fire brigade will be there within 5 minutes. Okay.
2210-4, advise ambulance and EMS to expedite. I'll be on the car checking victims.
2210-4.
So now look at the time over here. It's 2:40 and some 3 seconds, 4 seconds.
1261 Effingham, 1020.
Yeah, 1251. I'm outside. Stop 51, just north of Berkeley. Hey, ready.
1025 with 22 at Dixon Gray Road.
Look out.
status.
So the sound that you hear when the mic comes on and then the sound disappears, the lapel mic on the policeman. So whenever he's breathing, they can the mic goes on, and when he stops breathing, the mic goes silent. Okay, but it's been just about 1 minute now. Okay, and let's see what's happening. The policeman is already down.
District of your 10 status check on.
Fire brigade and the ambulance have arrived, and no one is running onto the site. They are making sure that they have their equipment all sorted out. They are personal protective gear. They are all wearing it out. Okay? They're wearing the oxygen mask, their helmets. Whereas a policeman is breathing his last breath away. Okay, it's been 2.5 minutes since the policeman went and responded to this situation, and he's already another patient on site. So you can see the fire brigade, when they came into the site, they did not come in just with their oxygen masks. They came in with 2 water hoses, and they used the water hoses to keep the fumes, the poisonous gas fumes away from them. And then they started their rescue. Okay. Unfortunately, the policeman in this video, he died, and he could have been saved. He could have absolutely made sure that he was safe before he went into the situation, and a little bit of prudent investigation of the scene, okay, could have saved his life. If you had seen the video, the policeman video on the right hand side, you would have seen a tanker. I'll show you the tanker again. Okay, you can see this hazard sign on the tanker over here. Okay, there's a triangle. That is a big sign that there's danger. Okay. Also, he had been informed that it's a poisonous chemical truck which has been in an accident. So he knew things, but his emotion to actually go and help out was so strong that he did not take precautions to make sure that he himself is kept safe. And unfortunately, that policeman is no more. Okay. Now, what could we do in such a case? First of all, what we can do is understand that our lives are very important, and mainly so because only if we keep ourselves safe can we then help out someone else. Okay, and that person could be anybody. It could be a relative, it could be a stranger, it could be a friend. Okay, if we want to help someone out, we need to keep ourselves safe first. If we are not safe ourselves, we're going to land up as another patient, and then others who are trying to come in to help us out, okay, are now going to have to make a choice between the 2 patients that are there on the site. Okay, so how do we go about it? How do we realize that? What do we do about things like that? So what we do is known as scene size up, and there is a nice mnemonic. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we have 5 things to do before we enter a scene. Okay, and I'm going to teach you these 5 things today. The first one, okay, number 1, I'm number 1. Okay, and we have to see if the scene is safe. So if you're on a railway track, make sure that it's not a live railway track, or make sure that if there's a train passing, there are trains passing, that you first get the patient away from the danger, okay, so that you can then tend to the patient. If there's a flood, okay, you must make sure that you are out of the floods first. If you're trying to save somebody from a burning house or a fire, make sure that you don't get caught up in the smoke or the fire and end up becoming another patient. So number 1, I'm number 1, and that is very important. You have to say number 1, I'm number 1 always, because if we don't keep ourselves as number 1, then we are going to end up as another patient. Okay, so number 1, I'm number 1. At number 2, we try to ask the question, what happened to you? So we're not asking the patient actually, we're trying to make a observation about the situation. So maybe the situation shows like that one in the video that we just saw. We could see that there was an accident. So what happened to you? Of course, there was some kind of a mechanism of injury. There must have been some kind of collision. Somebody fell down. So that's what was there. You could look at the scenario, you can look at the scene, and you may observe that it looks like an illness. Somebody is not feeling well. Okay, they are maybe sitting down and coughing, or they are really dizzy. Okay, so we can make these assumptions just by looking at a scene. We could see a motorcycle. We could see that there are 2 or 3 people who have fallen down, or maybe we can see slippers on the road. So we can make out, looking at clues on the side, what could have gone wrong. So at number 2, we want to know what happened to you or what happened in that scene. Number 3, not on me. Okay, and not on me means we are going to wear protective gear for us. And what not on me? We don't want the patient's body fluids on us. Okay, bodily fluids could include blood, could include saliva, it could include vomit, it could include waste from, as in excreta or urine. We don't want any of that on us. Okay, we're trying to save ourselves. So we'll wear gloves. We'll probably wear something to protect your eyes, like a mask. We already have masks right now because of COVID, so you could wear on a mask. Okay, you could wear a raincoat or a jacket, so that if there is a lot of spilling of blood oozing out from the patient, okay, at least your waterproof layers would stop that from actually touching you. All right. And number 4, we want to know what if there are any more on the scene. I have seen this, that whenever there's an accident, somebody is always shouting, or most of the time somebody who has less injuries is shouting, my leg, it's broken, my leg is broken, it's bleeding, guys, please help me. I don't know what I'm going to do. And this guy is crying and bawling, and everybody's attention goes to this person who's making the loudest sound over there, and they take this person to the hospital. And in the hospital, when this person is calmed down by maybe an injection or a painkiller, this patient asks you, where's my wife? Okay, she was with me on the motorcycle. And what we did not realize on the scene of the accident was, maybe the co-passenger that this patient was traveling with is unresponsive and fallen down somewhere nearby. Okay, and nobody cared to look. Why? Because the person who was shouting and making all the noise got all the attention, and we missed out on another patient who could have been saved. Okay, so at number 4, we look around and try to find out, are there any more? Okay, and at number 5, we make a general assumption, if this situation is an emergency and I should be calling an ambulance, or if the situation can be handled over here with the training that we have. Okay, so if it's a life and death situation or a loss of limb situation, then we definitely want an ambulance to be coming in. But if it's a minor skid wherein there are wounds, scratch wounds or abrasions on our patient, maybe a little bit of bleeding, then we can take care of it at the site, and we don't need to evacuate that patient immediately. So the 5 things, if we can go, we can all say it together. Number 1, I'm number 1. Is the scene safe? Number 2, what happened to you? Number 3, not on me. We are wearing our personal protection. Number 4, are there any more? Look around, look for other patients. And number 5, what's the vibe? Dead or alive? Do we call the ambulance over here? Okay. So these are the first 5 basic questions that we ask ourselves before we step inside an accident zone or a rescue area. I want to teach you a skill today. We are going to learn how to wear gloves, okay, and how to take off gloves. It's a very important skill, and I'm going to show you a video. So we are going to learn how to wear and take off gloves. Let's see how to wear them. Take out your gloves one at a time. Take out your gloves one at a time. Okay, just quickly blow some air in it. Okay, so that they are open. And then slide it over your fingers. Okay, if it's stuck, just fill in a little air from underneath. Same for the other hand. Take the glove out. Fill in a little bit of air. Wear it over here. Adjusting again. Just blow in a little air so that you can adjust your fingers. Nice and comfy. Now, once you've used these surgical gloves for whatever you need, okay, how do you take them off? Now, the glove which is more contaminated by whatever contaminant, okay, what we're going to do is we are going to use the other hand to first slide off the entire, get the entire glove off, okay, so that the contamination is now inside and nothing on my hand. And I'm going to take this entire glove and squeeze it, and then use my other finger to just go underneath my first glove. And now all the contaminants are inside. I'm going to tie a knot so that everything is now contained inside and your hands are clean. And now we are going to go and wash our hands for 20 seconds at least with soap and water to make sure that it's all clean. This we're going to throw in a paper bag or something which is going to be marked with biohazard and go to your local clinic or a hospital where they dispose all the biohazardous stuff. So we just saw the skill of how you can wear a pair of gloves on and how you can take them off without contaminating yourself. I always carry at least one pair of gloves in tic-tac boxes like this. They're very small. They go into your pocket. They go into the jeans watch pocket that you have on the right side. So it stays with you. It's flat. And there are 2 surgical gloves in it, which are clean, which you can use anytime. I also carry random gloves in my pocket or in my bag. So even in my motorcycle or in my car. So there are a few gloves that are always there. They are a big lifesaver. The first thing that you are doing is making sure that you are always safe. Okay. So these are some of the small things that we do during scene size up or the scene safety. So coming back, Abhishek, are you here?
Yes, Dhiren, this was very, very informative. Sorry, I've just come onto the road. I had some work, so I've just dropped down. So in case there is some noise. So, but this was very informative. Dhiren, how do people remember this? Do you think while we'll save this video and we'll circulate this video, but is there a way that one can keep this handy and also pass it on to the other riders?
Yes, of course. We do have a cheat sheet. So I always carry a cheat sheet in my wallet. I can show it to you. But a cheat sheet is a piece of paper. Okay, and if you remember, some of my friends, I remember when I was in school and college, a lot of my friends used to carry these cheat sheets during exam and cheat. Okay, however, the first aid cheat sheet is something that will help you remember stuff when you're actually in an incident, because during a real life scenario, there are a lot of things around. It's a panic situation. There is chaos over there. There are people shouting. You can see blood. You are not sure if you're going to stop your bike. Should you lock it? You may have your bag attached to the bike, and you're not sure if you're okay to leave your bag over there while you go and try and rescue somebody. So there are lots of things that are going on in your head, and it is very, very possible that you forget this stuff. Okay, I've been learning and teaching these skills for the last 12 years, and I myself do end up sometimes forgetting. So I carry with me a cheat sheet. I'll just show you what the cheat sheet looks like. So in my wallet, I have a cheat sheet. Okay, it looks something like this. It has everything written on it. Okay, what to do, when to do it. Okay, and during our class, we also share a copy of this cheat sheet, a PDF, so that people can take a printout of it and keep it in their pockets or in their first aid kits. So these are things that you can, these are solutions that you can get to make sure that you always remember. Okay, the rule of hand, like I say, always remember 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I'm number 1. What happened to you? Not on me. Are there any more? And what's the why? So the more you train, the more you practice, the more you're going to remember. And even if you don't remember, there's always tools that you can carry which will help you remember. So
that's great, Dhiren. Would we be able to share a PDF copy which riders and people who are listening to this and watching this can probably save it and then take a printout and keep it with them for their reference?
Absolutely. What we'll do is we'll share our email IDs in the, so you can see the email IDs in our description of this video. You could just send in a message saying that I would like to have the cheat sheet, and we'll mail it to you. Sounds good?
Yeah, that's fine, and we'll figure out a way in case somebody doesn't respond and people want to have it handy. So thanks, Dhiren. This session was very informative. I also wanted to check with you now, while you're not the only one probably going to be on a scene like this, when an unfortunate incident like this happens, how do you, or what do you do rather, when you have other people who are locals, there's a lot of noise, crowd gathered around that place. And if somebody from your group has, unfortunately, and God forbid that should not happen, has come into a situation like this. Now, how do you handle and how do you calm yourself? How do you handle the crowd around while you're doing the scene size up?
So so these gloves, which I say I carry them always. Okay, these work like a charm. Okay, when you wear these gloves, even if there's a real doctor on site, okay, but you are the one who's wearing the gloves. Okay, people are going to tell him, "Bhai sahab, bajo mein jaiye, doctor sahab aa gaye." Okay, and I've seen this experience, and doctors get like really, really mad. Like, who's this guy? He's not even a doctor, and he's carrying gloves. Okay, I'm a doctor. I've done this God knows how many times. And I always tell them respectfully, sir, I'm just carrying gloves. I can give you an extra pair as well. I have them. Okay. But this is a magic way of actually getting the crowd to listen to you. The main thing that I have seen when there is a lot of people on the site, okay, confidence speaks. So if you're practicing this regularly, you know what you're doing. People want to listen to you, and you can actually instruct them to do different things. What I do is on the site, when there is somebody who's a loudmouth over there, first thing I ask that loudmouth is his name or her name. And I tell them, could you help me arrange these guys so that the traffic can be properly situated? Give them some job, give them a task. And once you give them a task, these guys want to help out and they do help out. There have been situations wherein the crowd is not so happy with somebody saving a victim of the accident. Okay, in such a case, again, we go back to rule number one. I'm number one. So keep yourself safe. Okay, if the scene is not safe for you, do not enter it. If you enter the scene and the scene becomes unsafe, take a step back. Okay, judge what you want to do on the scene. Do you really want to make, as in get into it? Because you need to be safe before you can help somebody out. And that is the basic theme of this today's chat anyway. Okay. So on site, if you're confident, if you're prepared, people are ready to listen to you and help out, and you can instruct them. I have always found that crowds are good because they help you out. I remember we had not saved, but so that there was an accident on Kharghar Bridge about 3, 4 years, 5 years ago. And me and my friend we were returning from Pune to Mumbai, and there was a truck which collided with a tempo, and the tempo was completely smashed from the front side, and the driver was unresponsive and pinned inside the tempo. Okay, and me and my friend, we tried to stabilize the driver's head and neck, okay, the head and spine area, but we did not have access to get the driver out, who was already unresponsive. And we asked people to help us out. And I have seen people, like about 10 or 20 people, just came over there and they tore apart that tempo cabin. Okay, it's like they tore apart like a piece of paper. Okay, and it was like something I had never seen before. So people want to help. If you know what you're doing, if you show confidence, if you show preparedness, people will help you. So that's what I can tell you for sure.
Thanks, Dhiren. Thanks for those insights as well. So today we spoke about scene size up, and the idea is to understand what one needs to do to reach the person who's experienced a fall or met with an accident.
Yes. Patient.
The patient, yes. I don't want to use the term patient, but somebody who's unfortunately got into that situation.
Accident victim.
Yeah. So now this is your first step in road safety. Is that the first step?
Yes, absolutely.
Would you say?
If you are not safe, guys, don't enter a scene. If you don't have time, if you have to be somewhere, if there are other people who are dependent on you, say you're leading a group, and you don't have time to engage into an accident scene for a stranger, okay, don't get into it. Okay, you are not obligated to save everyone and anyone that you see on the road, but you are obligated with the commitments that you have given to your group or to your family or your friends. Okay, and you should stick to your original plan. If you cannot give enough time and efforts in that situation, because the situation can prolong indefinitely. Okay, it can you might just find a stray ambulance on the road and they take away the patient in the next 10 minutes, or you are stuck in a situation for at least 3 to 4 hours trying to get this patient to the hospital, making sure that the doctor or the nurse takes charge of this patient. There are so many things that can go wrong at this point. So if you don't have the time or the inclination to get into a scene, don't do it. Okay, that's what I would say. So if you're safe, you have to think about yourself first, and only then will you be able to help out the others.
Thank you, Dhiren. That was also a very informative as to when do you get into a situation like this. Now we will need to obviously handle the patient, and that's the next step or the second step towards safety. In our next session, so we want to keep this at a very very healthy pace of sessions so that people really understand the phases of safety, and which is why we said we'll break it down into 5 sessions of safety. Today's session was about scene size up, which is basically realizing what is around you and how do you reach that thought process of helping someone in that unfortunate situation. In the next session, we will talk about how do you then handle the patient or your fellow rider or somebody from friends or family who's been in that situation, or a stranger. If you have the time and inclination that Dheeraj mentioned. And that session will then, talk about the first steps of how you address the patient. Dhiren, would you give a glimpse of what that next session would be, so that we can then have, riders wanting to come and continue with that session as well?
Sure. So the next session, I'll just check. Okay, I had. All right. So the next session, we'll look at how do we enter this scenario. Okay, and it always starts with taking consent of the patient if they are responsive, because if they don't want you to help, if they do not find you safe enough, they are well within their rights to refuse help from you. Okay, so we'll get into the nitty-gritties of how we get into the situation and what do we do to look at the life threats that are there. So we'll start with life threats like a blocked airway, for that matter, or breathing, and we'll go on so on and so forth. So for the next session, please be ready to understand how to get into a situation and what are the first things that you want to make sure that are ticked off your list so that your patient is safe. Okay, so that's what I can say for the next session.
Thank you again, Dhiren. So this was a very good session with regards to reaching a patient, clearing up the scene, being a confident supporter in times of such unfortunate incidents. And I hope and pray, as a rider myself, and Dhiren being a rider himself, we do not reach that situation. We do not have such a situation ever. But it's always good to be prepared. So Dhiren, thank you again very much for allowing Roaring Cycles and Let's Ride as partners to bring this safety session for riders through Jumpstart Outdoors, which is your baby, and doing this free for the entire universe of riders who can take this guidance and keep them handy as points of information to note. And we will then see you next Sunday, 5 p.m., Dhiren, along with the audience again. And this video that we are seeing will be recorded, and Dhiren will share this video. We will publish it on Roaring Cycles, on Let's Ride, and on Jumpstart Outdoors Instagram and Facebook pages.
Yes.
So one can go through them, keep learning and practicing at home. Obviously, don't do it on the road till you are prepared, like Dhiren mentioned. And thank you again for watching this session, and all the best. Let's ride safe, keep social distance, wear a mask, stay safe, stay healthy, ride and enjoy your weekends or long rides that you're doing. See you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dhiren.
Thank you, Abhishek. Thank you, guys. See you next episode. Bye-bye.